Hello and welcome to our penultimate video in the Virgin Media Future of Gaming video series. Next week's video will come at you from the show floor of EGX, where we'll be speaking to some of the world's top developers and getting their tips on how to survive the future of gaming. As we approach the end of our futuristic journey though, we wanted to take a look back over the last few months and glance a wistful eye to see what, if anything, we've learned about the future of video games. First up, robots. Now we don't think there's anything cooler in the world than robots, and frankly if someone could just hurry up and build a life-size Transformer we could sit in and play on our Vitas all day, then that would be swell. This guy makes robots for a living, so we asked him if he could envisage a future for gaming with more robots in it.
I like robot warriors or these kind of things in anime and games, but these are a little bit different from what I'm looking for. So in game field, they do have a lot of interesting characters.
Okay, so robots are probably not going to play that much of a big role in the future of gaming, but what about toys? The guy behind the insane Collect 'em Up Disney Infinity was all over that idea.
I think that there is something special about having kind of this analog component to the game. There really isn't a replacement for having something you can physically touch and handle and play with. And if you spend any time with game developers at all, you know that we all collect stuff. Like every desk is just littered with toys and collectibles. As for whether or not that's where gaming is heading, I think there's a portion of gaming that is going that way. And I'm really interested to see kind of what other developments we have sort of in this category.
So robots, no. Tiny little Spider-Man figures, yes. Okay with us, but not that futuristic, is it? Well, to be honest, sitting down with the guys at Shut Up and Sit Down, a website dedicated to rolling dice and counters back into our lives, futuristic didn't seem all that important to things. It might not be all flying cars and space aliens and that, but these board game experts reckon video games have a thing or two to learn if they're to survive in the future.
I have been saying for years that board games are just this like Scrooge McDuck treasure trove of ideas that video games need to steal from. Like if you take any board game off the shelf, it will have 7 ideas for video games to steal. Fun, goofy stuff like asymmetrical teams like Ladies and Gentlemen, where you have a team of players, one of whom the husband and the other's the wife. Any given game is full of ideas, and what we're seeing now is video game designers taking more inspiration from board games, like the new XCOM was made in paper as a board game by Sid Meier and Jake Solomon before they even sat down to write a line of code, and it shows because it's just a really robust game.
One thing that is going to be extremely important to video games in the future, because it already is important, is esports. We headed to the European League of Legends Championship to see just how crazy big esports have become.
It's one of the most popular online multiplayer video games, and it's just something that it's played globally. Every country. We have got players in Vietnam, Southeast Asia, China, Brazil, and obviously England as well. And it's just something that we're very lucky and we're very fortunate that there are so many players passionate all around the world.
But if there's one thing we're sticking our pocket money behind as the top thing we're going to see in the future of video games, it's virtual reality. With the help of our geeked up guest Julia Hardy once again, we learned that virtual reality is a biggie for the near future. Here she is checking out the sleeker than a greased up Ferrari Sony Morpheus head thing.
So this is the very, very sexy looking Morpheus here. First up, it's got that lovely, touchableness about it. It's got the blue lights, which we all know that when the PlayStation 2 came out and blue LEDs didn't exist before, we all know that blue light signifies the future, right? That's why it's blue. He's nodding, see, I'm exactly right.
With the likes of Facebook buying the rights to the Oculus Rift, and every other man, woman, and sophisticated dog that owns a tech company lining up to secure some kind of virtual reality for themselves, this is one futuristic fad that ain't going away anytime soon. That's it for this week's Virgin Media Future of Gaming. Join us next week for the final episode of the series, brought to you from EGX in Earl's Court, London. And if you're off to the event yourself, be sure to come by the Virgin Media booth and give us a high five.